Hope you're fine. Happy Halloween.
Yes, thank you. Happy Halloween to you too, and happy
Thank
Halloween
you.
to everybody out there. We had trick or treaters yesterday, and they were also very cute and running around the neighborhood,
Yeah.
collecting candy, and they were having a really good time.
Yes.
So it was a lot of fun, and I always like to hand out the candy because it's trick or treat, right?
Yes.
The meaning of trick or treat means if they want to treat, they have to do a trick.
Yes, of
So I
course.
have them doing somersaults in the
Tricks for you, and then you give them the candies
That's
out
right.
of love.
Out of love, totally.
Yes,
So thank
yes.
you for joining me today, and so this is a kind of a really cool thing that you're doing. You're going to be talking about the love spell. Like, whoa, what is the love
Yes.
spell?
What's the love spell? Everyone wants to fall in love. We're all singing for love. We enjoy being in love. We're happy being in love. But what is love? What is love? And sometimes we say it comes from the heart. Sometimes we say it comes when we see someone who's really pleasurable and looking beautiful. But actually, love is a drug. Love comes from the brain. It's all about chemistry.
Ah, from the brain.
Yes. I found that very interesting because I was preparing, I was working on a training called Crushed, and it has to do with heartbreak. And I was thinking before I started working on the program, well, before we can cure heartbreak, we need to know what's love. So I started to ask myself, what's love? What's this thing that hurts us the most? And I started to research and read about the science of love and the chemistry of the brain and the researches anthropologists have done with the MRIs on the brain in love and the brain in breakups.
Uh-huh.
And it was interesting to find the following. The number one thing is we always say love is blind, but we don't know why love is blind. There's a scientific reason for that question, why love is blind.
Hmm.
Well, what happens is when we fall in love, there's a teeny weeny thing here down in the brain, a teeny weeny thing. And it's part of the brain reward system. Once you have this spark towards someone, it flushes dopamine all over the brain. And then the dopamine is the happiness hormone. It's the feeling good hormone. It's the
Hmm.
pleasure hormone. So whenever you see that person, you start to get this rush of dopamine. That's the first chemical secreted.
Uh-huh.
When you have this dopamine, again, you have another thing called vasopressin, and it's the sexual hormone. It gives you the sexual arousal or the lust. And
Uh-huh.
when you are sexually aroused or you have this lust, apparently it puts off the reason, the self awareness, and the rational behavior.
Oh yeah. The rational behavior.
Yes.
Out the
No
window.
rational behavior. Yes. The third thing that happens is after a while, the brain starts to secrete more hormones from the reward system. And those hormones, they literally stop or haze the frontal cortex, the mid and frontal cortex that are responsible for logical thinking and analysis.
Okay.
Not only that, but also it starts to secrete adrenaline and serotonin. And those hormones put you in very high mode as if you are taking drugs. So that's the phase of the honeymoon. So that's why in the honeymoon phase of love, you cannot see the bad sides of or the red flags. You're feeling so peaceful. You have no fears. You're just fluffy duffy floating over the moon and the clouds, thinking all the time about the one you love, daydreaming about them. You cannot get them out of your mind. And when you see them, it's the rush of dopamine, your brain rewarding you. I want to see them. I want to touch them. The last chemical that the brain secretes is the oxytocin, which is the attachment, the bonding, the love hormone.
Hmm.
And why is the brain doing all that for us? Because one of our needs as human beings, even from the hierarchy of Maslow's hierarchy, is bonding and love and being in tribes.
Yeah.
Always, when they punish people, they send them away, right?
Hmm.
If you want to punish someone, you even have them in the silent corner or the naughty corner away, or you have them banished away, or you leave them out of the tribe. So, bonding and love is an essential need for human beings. So, what the brain is doing is not actually against you, it's not trying to torture you. He's trying to give you what you need from bonding and love by secreting all those hormones to keep you in bond and love and attachment with the one that you've chosen or the one that you have felt those heartbeats for
Hmm.
the longest time, so that you can mate together and form a family and go on with your lives together. So that's what the brain's trying to do by secreting all those hormones. But apparently, when that's happening, we get blinded by love. So that's
So
why
true.
love is blind.
Completely blind. Yes. And it's like there's everything else is like gone. And I
Yes.
mean, I can remember the last time that I like totally fell in love. I couldn't think of anything else but this person.
Yes. Yes.
And work, forget it. Returning phone calls, forget that.
Yes. And it's always your anxiety and what they're doing, and you cannot sleep and you cannot eat. All those are hormones, and the adrenaline going up and down. And you have this rush of your brain is rewarding you when you see them, because he wants you to connect and bond and see them again and again. You want to touch them, you want to talk to them. And whenever you see their name on the phone, your brain is rewarding you with that dopamine again. So you're getting crazy all around.
it's this addictive
Yes, it's
sensation
an
and all that
addiction.
that's happening in the
Yes,
body that everybody in the world wants really bad.
yes. And it goes really well when you are in a healthy relation, or when you are in a good relation, when it ends good. I mean, when you're together. And it's very devastating and it's very painful when you break up, because the same hormones you need to get them out of the brain, get them out of your body. So you start to have other hormones secreted, like cortisol, which increases the stress and makes you very frustrated and down, and you don't have energy, and you feel pain, physical pain, and you feel emotional pain and emotional drainage, and you feel mental pain and you cannot focus. So it's like addiction. There is withdrawal, and whenever you go back in contact with the person that you broke up with, anytime you see them or get in contact with them, it's a relapse, so you have to start the withdrawal again. So it's very painful, it's very painful.
You know this? Have you
Yes.
ever heard of this song? It's called "Sometime Around Midnight," and I'm trying to remember the people who wrote the song, but it's about this guy that he's in a bar. He sees this woman that he used to date. He was madly in love, and somehow they broke up. And then she was there with a different guy,
Ooh.
and he's like
Oh,
breaking in two. He just can't handle it, and
yes.
so much pain. But yeah, I mean, I can understand. It's like if it's happened to us all, that we have this feeling, the sensation, everything was beautiful, wonderful roses, like
It's
you said,
just,
fluffy duffy. Is
yes,
that what you said?
Duffy. Yes, Fluffy Duffy. Because you have the butterflies, you want to sit, and you turn to a little child, you cannot talk, and you want to see them, you want to talk to them, and you want to touch them, and all those over the clouds and over the moon thingy. Yes.
And they pick up the phone, and you're just like, hi.
Yes, and all the hearts are going there. And it's really, you know what, all the chemicals, they affect even your look. You can see someone and tell, wow, they seem to be in love, they look so beautiful, they
Yeah.
look so shiny and bright,
Uh-huh.
and so he might be in love, she might be in love. So again, all the hormones affect us, our skin, our everything.
It's
And
so
during
true.
breakup, and the withdrawal of the hormones during breakup, they affect us as well. So you can find during breakup, most of the people might face falling hair, acne, skin is really dry, because of, again, the hormone of the cortisol and other hormones that are, and the withdrawal of the hormones from the reward system.
Hmm. Wow. So this is very scientific. I mean, it's not just,
Yes, it was amazing. And there are researchers with an MRIs of the brain and all the anthropologists and the people who are interested in the science of love. They were talking about it in TEDx talks, in researches, in psychology. It was really interesting to find that.
hmm So, okay, so you're going to answer some questions for us, right?
Yes, yes, sure,
So
sure.
I've got them. I'm going to put them up on the screen one at a time, and we've got some people watching. So if they have some questions, they could they also ask the question too?
Yes, please, please. Yes, that's
Okay.
good. Very interesting and fun.
All right. So okay, are you ready to begin?
Yes, please.
All right. So what the first question is? So why is love blind?
I've just answered that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Love is
is love
blind.
blind? Why is it blind? I mean, is there a scientific reason for that too?
Yes, it's a scientific reason because actually, as I told you, all the chemicals that rushes in our brain, they there's something called the VTA at the back of the brain, and when it starts to flush the dopamine, the adrenaline, the serotonin, and all the other the oxytocin, and all the other chemicals, they literally stop or haze the work of the frontal cortex and the amygdala, which is responsible for fear, anger, sadness, and that's why we cannot see except the good thing and the pleasurable things about the target of our love. And this happens in the honeymoon phase, in the first phase of love, the honeymoon phase. So that's why love is blind. We cannot, under the drug influence, under the hormonal influence, the chemical influence, we cannot see but our loved object. We cannot think except of them, and we cannot even see the red flags. You might find people telling you, "How come? How come? Can't you see that he's not suitable? Can't you see that she's not suitable? Can't you see?" And you cannot see except hearts flying all over.
I even had somebody say one time, "She looks just like your old girlfriend." Oh, that's funny.
Exactly.
So it's really scientifically, it's really that we just can't see beyond our own reasoning because all these different chemicals are flowing through our body, and
And
it's
it
like,
hazes the brain.
yeah, it's like
Yes.
can't see anything.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
great.
Exactly.
So there's no cure for it, in other words.
In the honeymoon phase, no. Except when you are aware that you are, that's why we spread awareness. When you are aware that at that part of this is the first stage of the attraction, because we have stages for love. We have the lust stage, we have the attraction stage, and we have the attachment stage. So in each and every stage of love, there is a secretion of hormones with percentages. So when you are aware that you are in the lust stage and that you are under the Vesperocene and you're sexually attracted to the person, and that makes you not rational, so you might what do I say, you might slow yourself a bit so that you can reach the attachment stage or the attraction stage.
hmm
So awareness matters.
it doesn't seem like on our own that we have the ability to slow it down, even though our friends are saying, wait, this is not
Oh no,
slow.
no, you can. It's an addiction.
Yeah, completely. So
Yes.
before I go to the second question, okay, second question is really about, so like, why a specific person? We walk into a room and all of a sudden it's like, that's all we can think about is this person.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so before we get to that, tell us a little bit about you. I mean, you've been doing this now. You have this program, I can see it there, it's called
Yes.
Crush.
Crushed.
Yeah. And then a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm a business director in one of the international franchises that's providing language training across the world, and that's my main job. Nevertheless, I'm a certified meta coach, transformational meta coach, and feminine embodiment trainer. And what does that mean? Transformational meta coach is I help you, for example, you're in that state and you want to change. Whether in your love life, in your career life, in your personal life, whatever. So, what I do is I help you take the journey through certain techniques that we've learned, of course, and I help you to reach your goal and achieve the change that you want.
Hmm.
That's the first thing. The other thing is I'm a trainer. I'm certified. I'm a licensed trainer from many international schools, and I have my own programs, my own tailored programs, and they have to do with femininity and relations. With femininity, I well the concept of feminine and masculine, and everyone now is getting in the masculine energy because we are at work, we're competing with men, we want to prove ourselves, we want to work, and this affects really our lives, it affects our behaviors, it affects our health, it affects everything around us, and it affects our relations and the men that we attract. So
Yeah.
we're going crazy complaining about attracting toxic relations or not healthy relations or certain kind of men, and actually it starts with us as women working on our feminine embodiment and feminine energy and reaching the balance and knowing how to embody through our voices, our body, our the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we think, the way we act in life, the way we connect spiritually. All those things affect our energetic field, our femininity, and the attractions that we have in life. And
Hmm.
with the relationships, well, I'm working with relations, but I'm really concerned with something that all our relations starts from inside out. So I'm not gonna go for love yourself and don't love yourself, but it really starts from inside out, and things that we had to understand from since we were children, during our childhood, whether it be the shadow character, the wounded child inside us, the attachment style, our attachment style, daddy and mommy issues that we've not finished though we
Hmm.
love them, fears, insecurities, a lot of things that we need to finalize inside ourselves before we project on the partner, before we complain about attracting certain kind of people, certain kind of relations. There are things inside us that need to be finished, need to be understood, need to be dealt with in a healthy way before we connect with another person.
Hmm.
So that's mainly the two axes that I work on with different programs. I have my training
Wow.
programs and my coaching programs.
And
Yes.
thank you for telling us that, because I mean, you're right. I think it all starts from inside. People know that. I think that it's difficult to implement it though. So
Very difficult. Yes.
when we get into a relationship, and if we're not, like whole in
Whole.
ourselves, then we're going to a relationship broken, and maybe the other
Yes.
person is also broken, but it's kind of like a math problem. I always think of it like this. So if I'm feeling like I'm not 100%, I'm 50%, and I'm going to a relationship with somebody that feels 50% like whole, right? Then the common denominator, we're only at 50%. That's the most we can go to, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And I'll tell you something. When I explain that, I have three programs. One called Love Bugs, and it has to do with the bugs, the inside things that we have to deal with before we connect with another person. And people get amazed, like, yes, exactly. That was happening to us, and we could not understand why is it happening. And you go in a serial of projection on the other partner, and you go on a serial of resentment to the other partner, and you can't understand why you are doing this to your partner. The other
Mhm.
thing is it has to do with the attachment style and the abandonment and the attachment systems that we have. And one of the questions that everyone is asking, why am I always abandoned? People are
Mm.
asking, a lot of people are asking that. Why every time I open my heart and I again in love, I'm always abandoned? Why? And when I explain the abandonment cycle, it starts with the person. So, for example, this is a little deviation, but I would like to explain it. For example, I might have faced a trauma as a child or as an adult. I might have went into a relationship that might have a traumatic breakup, or my partner died, or I suffered a lot, so it was traumatic for me. So what happens is the following. I have fears, the void inside of me, the sadness, I cover it with fear as defense. And then when I start to go into another relation, what happens is I attract what I fear. How?
Mm.
At the slightest glimpse, with the partner showing any sign of being away, sign of not rejection but refusing what you're doing, signs of clashing, signs of pulling away, you start to go crazy feeling the past pains, and you think that you're going to go into that cycle of abandonment again. And what do? You start the breakup.
So,
Why? Because you're afraid that the other person might reject you.
ah,
So you started yourself instead of they started doing that to you. So it's an abandonment cycle. Then you
wow,
feel guilty. Then you feel guilty. And with the guilt and the shame, you get afraid. So you start the cycle all around. And that's why you never, yes, it starts from
that's
within.
interesting. So you work with people to help them to stop that cycle, so they can be
Yes,
more whole in themselves,
yes,
so they don't bring
yes.
that fragmented person into a relationship.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. This is what my main concern in relations, that uh, helping people to be whole from child wounds, from whatever, from attachment styles, from because there are toxic attachment styles, and that frees them, liberates them to attract, to understand themselves first, to know their triggers, to know their strategies of activation and deactivation, and then start to have a healthy and a sound relationship.
That's great. I always like to think of it as cleaning myself up, cleaning up my life,
Yes,
cleaning out all
yes,
that icky
yes,
stuff,
exactly,
getting it out so
exactly.
that I can go into my life clean.
And
So,
receive
okay,
other things.
question number two.
Yes,
Ready? I'm going to put it on the
yes,
screen. It
please.
says, why do we fall for a specific person when we enter a room? I mean, this happens with everybody. Those
With
of you who are
everyone.
watching, right? You walk
Yes.
in the room and it's just like, ah,
Ah, yes. And then everyone is asking you, why she, why he, and you don't have an explanation. And sometimes you don't have an explanation to yourself. You're getting crazy. Why this person? I have a lot of options, but why this person? Well, there was a research by Helen Fisher and other anthropologists that proved that we get attracted to people again on a hormonal I mean, a hormonal attraction. So there are four main hormones that are secreted, and they have studied people. They have put people in dating apps, in focused groups, and they have studied the MRIs of the brain and the hormone activity in those groups, and they found out that there are four main groups,
okay.
and some groups get attracted naturally to other groups due to the hormonal percentages that they have in their brains. So, for example, the first group is ruled by the dopamine, and the dopamine group, they prove to be innovative. They like new things. They are energetic, and they like to try things. They like to take risks. They like to do mental reflections. So that's the first group, which is ruled by the dopamine. The other group is ruled by the serotonin, and they are mostly calm, they are structured, they are focused, they are high linguistic abilities, and they are really creative. And the dopamine group and the serotonin group, they get normally attracted to each other. So you might go into the room and find you're from the dopamine, then you normally get attracted to those groups from the serotonin or the serotonin group.
Okay.
So the third group is the testosterone group, and they are focused people. They are engineers. They are focused. They are logic. They are analytical. They are mechanic. Sometimes they are aggressive when ruled by the hormone, and they are skeptic. They are not empathetic. They cannot show their feelings a lot. They're more into logic. And this group, they get attracted naturally to the group that's ruled by the oxytocin and estrogen. And the group ruled by the estrogen and the oxytocin, they are outgoing, they are social, they are intuitive, they are imaginative, they are very empathetic, into feelings. So those two groups, they get naturally attracted to
Mhm.
each other. So that's why you might find yourself, due to the brain chemicals, attracted to certain person, rebelling from certain person, getting crazily attached to certain person. It has to, again, as anthropologists have researched, due to the hormones of the brain.
Hmm.
So it's much more complicated than what we thought. And
Interesting.
one interesting info from the testosterone group is Mrs. Hillary Clinton. From the estrogen and oxytocin group is Mr. Bill Clinton. So it says something.
So it's, I mean, it sounds like there's personality styles that
Yes.
quadrant, and there's also management styles. So this is like the love style,
Yes, they get attracted to each other.
outgoing.
So that's why you go into the room and you just fall. The spark gets you get the spark with a certain person because that's why they call it chemistry. There's chemistry between us. So there is this attraction, this hormonal attraction, according to the brain hormone or the which group you are in and which hormone is rolling you.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's really interesting. So okay, so which one do you which category do you fit into?
I feel I'm from the oxytocin estrogen. I feel I'm from that category.
So, but remind me, what is that? Is it the quiet type? That's quiet
No,
type?
no, it's
The
the
outgoing.
energetic, the intuitive, the imaginative. They
Okay.
are empathetic. They have linguistic skills. They have artistic abilities. I felt I'm from that group. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
And maybe
and me too.
you
I mean,
know
I'm
what?
I'm the same. So if I meet somebody just like that, so I would be like in competition. So we don't wouldn't really get along too much.
Well, not that person, not to that extent, but you're gonna attract more, or you have chemistry more with the group of the testosterone. So you're gonna get in so much in chemistry with another person who's ruled by the testosterone hormone. So, and that you know what you've just I've had an awareness right now from the testosterone engineers because I've been attracting a lot of engineers lately. So from the testosterone groups, they are analytical engineering and focused on the structures. And I was wondering why I'm attracting a lot of engineers all around. So maybe that's why, because we have those hormonal attraction.
That's great. So before we go to the next question, tell me, so everybody who's listening, tell us, do you have a program coming soon? You mentioned love bugs, and then you mentioned crushed, and
Crust is
then
for the breakup recovery, yes, and there's another program called Hooked. Hooked.
hooked.
Yes, it's for the attachment styles because I feel our attachment styles are things that have developed since we were children due to the bonding that we have with our caregivers, and it's like the fish that get hooked in the
Fishing.
yes, fishing net, because sometimes we get so much attached. It's our attachment system, so much attached to a person, and there are patterns in attraction. Like, for example, the anxious style, they get attracted to the avoidance style, and they form a roller coaster pattern, and they keep on rolling together. And you don't understand why all this is happening, and why all this pain, and why I can't get out of the relation, though I know it's not the best relation for me. So it's called hooked, and it has to do with the attachment styles.
Interesting. Okay, so that leads into the next question. So question number three is, so why it hurts so much to get over someone when we know it's not meant to be. So we have this
Yes,
attachment, right?
yes,
And it's
yes,
we get comfortable with them, and then they decide they want to fly, they want to leave. So then we
yes,
still have this. "Ugh, why is it
yes.
so difficult? Why does it hurt so much?"
Why it hurts so much is different from why it's difficult to get them out of our brain. And I'm going to tell you the answer to both questions. Why it hurts so much because due to a lot of things. Number one, due to the withdrawal of the chemicals from our bodies and the brain, and looks like the true withdrawal of drugs. So and whenever you get that weak and get that suffering, and you just look at their picture, or you talk to them, or you see them, or whatever, you have a relapse, and you have to go again with all the withdrawal phases. So it's as painful as the withdrawal of drugs. It hurts so much because of our attachment systems, especially with the anxious attachment style, because the anxious is so much in bond and attached, and it's really wounded by the concept of I'm going to be abandoned, I'm going to be, love would go away from me. So it triggers the attachment wound so much, and they get so anxious, and they feel betrayed, and that's why it hurts them so much. And they don't have a good coping strategy with breakups. That's why we're having breakup recovery programs. It hurts so much because of the rejection concept, especially with the one who's dumped. I mean, of course, with both, but the one who's dumped is really hurt because of the rejection. I mean, it's very painful to reject someone. It's really painful to our egos to have this blow of rejection. So that's why it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot because it has to do with your self-esteem and ego. It hurts a lot because this is what I'm going to tell you, the brain, the trick of the brain. Well, when breakups happen, it was proven under the MRI that there are three parts of the brain that gets really activated. The first part of the brain is the reward system of the brain that we've talked about, and that has the flush of dopamine, oxytocin, things like that at the early stages of the relationship. That same part gets really furious, gets really focused, gets really more activated during breakup, because it wants you to rebond, or to get in contact with the subject of your pleasure or your attachment, to flush the dopamine and to do its work. So instead of you forgetting, it gets more focused, more intense, more craving, and it puts all the energy for you to go get the subject of your attention and pleasure. So it
Wow.
does not help you.
Mm-hmm.
The second part that really works in the brain is the loss and gain part of the brain. And the loss and gain part of the brain, it has to do always with trying to make you answer questions and take risk and understand why things are happening. So when you have a breakup, or when you get separated from the one you love, whether by death or breakup, whatever, it's all, and especially in breakups, it has a question to answer. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? We were just good together. How can I get them back? So all those questions that you cannot find answers for, they get really activated by that part of your brain, and you get crazy trying to find answers. And most probably, when you don't find answers, you get more and more triggered. So
Mm-hmm.
it gets more and more painful, and you can't get the person out of your mind. The third part that gets triggered in your brain is your attachment, the attachment part, and that has to do with the attachment system,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and that's why all those activities together, it makes us so hard. It makes it so hard to get the person out of your mind,
Mm-hmm.
except when you know how to handle the withdrawal, except when you know how to handle all those activities and manipulate your brain into certain things, and take things that might help in providing the brain with the hormones like the oxytocin, the dopamine, by going to the gym, by playing, by, for example, eating certain food that might provide the brain with the flushes of the hormones that losing.
Mm-hmm. It seems so complicated. Why is it? I mean, and that makes it all makes so much sense what you're saying. And so, like when we're going through the separation, I mean, the pain is there. Why do we blame ourselves? Why is that? I mean, I know we all talk. I need to take responsibility, but there's a lot of this, blame that's happening there, and I think that that's like for me in the past is where I got stuck, and then after that, it's like forget it. I'm never gonna fall in love again. That's it. It's over.
Yes. Yes. Mostly people do that, and this has to do with the attachment style. Actually, there are four main attachment styles: the secure style, the anxious style, and the avoidant, that dismissive avoidant, and the fearful avoidant. They are four attachment styles. With the secure style, when we are in a secure attachment style, we know we deal with the breakup in a different way. We know it happened for a reason, so we try to understand why it happened, and we know that after a while we can go on with our lives, and we might find someone else and live happily ever after. So with the secure style attachment, it's much more easier. They feel in pain, but they heal more easier, and it's much more easier for them. With the anxious style, it's the most triggering because, and they keep, like you say, they keep on blaming themselves after a while. No, I might have done this. I might have not done that. I let her go. Yes, I caused that. Maybe it was toxic, but I should have exerted more effort. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said that. So, and that is attributed to the attachment style, the anxiety, and the craving to bond, because the anxious, all what they want is they are hungry for love. They need to bond. They need to have the validation. So the loss is so heartbreaking for them, so heartbreaking. With the avoidance style, the interesting thing is, with the avoidance style, actually they don't feel the breakup glooms after the breakup immediately. After the breakup, they feel, well, I've got my freedom.
Hmm.
But after, like, from 3 to 4 months, or as the time goes by, they feel, oh my God, I've lost something. I
Hmm.
loved her.
Hmm.
What did I do? She's not gonna come back. It was true love. So they start to feel the breakup glooms later, but it comes so sudden and so intense. And
Hmm.
they start to fall in the guilt and the blame game.
I
So,
know someone who this just happened to recently, just
yeah.
a couple of months ago.
What happened? I couldn't get that. What
That
happened?
I know someone that happened to just about a month ago.
Yeah, right.
He was down in the dumps. He was
Yes,
fine, and then he realized, oops, I think I lost somebody really special. And
yes.
then he
And
was
this happens with the avoidance,
he was
yes,
so
mostly.
depressed. Yeah.
Yes. And they feel guilty because the time have passed, and they feel guilty because most probably the avoidant, either they ghost out, or they project harshly on their partners, and they feel of it's all because of me. So
Hmm.
they start the guilt and the shame and those things down the street to the rabbit hole.
That
But
old
there's
rabbit
always,
hole.
yeah, but there's always, we can handle that. I mean, with certain awarenesses, with knowing the triggers and the deactivations of their attachment styles, he can work on that, and he might have a reunion with the partner, but after working on
Hmm.
himself or themselves.
Yeah. What I'm loving about what you're saying is that I think that a lot of people without support would get stuck so easily because they don't have the knowledge that they need in order
The
to
right
get
tools.
themselves unstuck. And
Exactly.
to know those different phases is really important. What I,
Yes.
I can say about myself, I mean, I've had some couple of really bad breakups, and
Yes.
then I had some that weren't so bad. But what I realized later on is that I don't have to get stuck there, and I don't have to let that rule my life for a long
Yeah.
period of time. I
Yeah.
just need to, get to the other side of it and then look what's coming, next. What's the next phase? I want to look forward
Yes.
to this one
Yes.
so that I can get back to, being my old amazing self.
Yes, but the thing is, Domi, I totally agree with what you're saying. But some people, they don't do that with awareness. They just go for distractions. So they try to distract themselves out of the breakup by rebounds, by working hard, by eating,
Mhm.
emotional eating, by even going shopping, by doing whatever. Those are distractions.
Yeah,
And no matter you do distractions, you're going to feel the void at the end of the day, because you cannot run from yourself.
right.
So that's why we say it's not about the distraction, it's not about the void, it's about how to handle, how to fill that void, how to get to the root and the cause of what happened, work on it so that you either get in another attack, yeah, I mean in the same with the same person in a healthier relation, or you attract a new relation, knowing what your pitfalls are. So
Hmm. Wow.
and you know what, people, especially when we talk about the attachment style, last time, the first day of crushed was a couple of days ago, and everyone was saying the knowledge, just knowing it was not about us, it was about the other person. For example, when they shouted, when they projected, when we knew, when our awareness shifted, that it was not triggered to us, it was not that they see us in a bad way, it was not that they rejected us, it was something in them that they were projecting. Instead of being angry, we empathized. All the clients were saying like that. At least now I know why he acted this way, at least now I know why he ran away, at least now I know why he was acting in pain and why he
Hmm.
hurt me.
Hmm.
So the knowledge makes you feel better about the breakup and the person.
Hmm. Wow. So you primarily work with women.
No, I work with both. In femininity, I work with women, of course,
Yeah.
and
So
with the
both men.
relationships, yes, I work with both, but
Cool.
singles, not couples. I mean, not married people. I work with singles, divorced, but not married people.
Gotcha.
I don't know why.
All right. So, do you have you said the second session of Crushed just was 2 days ago. So you're doing
The first session was 2 days ago. Yes.
okay. And how many sessions are there for this?
It's 4 full days, from 12 to 7, 7 hours per day, full days. We start
Wow.
with the awareness part, and then we do 2 days of healing and techniques and trauma recovery and meditations and hypnotic things and collapsing anchors and getting out all the stuck emotions, because there are stages and there are 4 healing emotions. We work on the beliefs of the rejection and how to transform rejection into something empowering, and we work with how to transmute the pain to something really a masterpiece. And at the last part is moving on, how to choose, how awareness about the replacement theory and the rebounds, and completing your jigsaw and the wheel of life, and how to move on with healthier steps throughout the breakup time.
Wow. Whew. That's a lot.
Yeah,
A
that's very
lot.
interesting.
But it's, I mean, the way that you present the information, it's so uplifting. And so thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you,
what you
Larry.
know
Thank you. It's always my
and sharing your
pleasure.
knowledge. So if those of you who are listening or watching later, whatever, if you want to find out what's happening with Reham and her programs and all this, click on her link on her name there and
Thank you.
follow her and, have a great time.
Me too, and I'm always happy to be among the community. I'm always happy to share the info there, and I like your red hearty things
Ah,
very much. Yes, it's all for love.
it's it's all about love, the love spell.
Yes, it's all.
So the love spell.
Let me ask you. So you now recognized why it's a love spell, because it's like a drug. It's just
It's a
happening to
drug. Yeah,
us.
it's a spell. It's
Yes,
a spell we're
yes,
under. It's all
yes,
about, yeah, the love drug.
yes.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
I
you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate
It's my pleasure. Really, my pleasure.
positive energy and um, yeah. So I'll post this. This will post here, and it's going to go to our YouTube channel. I'll share the link here and share it with you, and people can watch it.
Thank you, Domi.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank
Happy
you. Stay in
Halloween.
love. You too. Stay in love. Bye.
You're gonna dress up as what? A mermaid.
Yeah. Yes, I love her. I'm gonna get tricks to get the candies.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you
Bye.
all for watching. Have yourself a fabulous week, and we will talk to you guys real soon. And thank you again,